All right. It needs to be said. It needs to be discussed. Has the carnivore diet already lost its way? Has there been so much division within the space, one, and two, because of the infighting and that division and the gross amount of misinformation that's being spewed on the internet and on social media, has it already lost its way? Because it shouldn't. Because it is the apex of the most productive form of human nutrition. If the goal is to be an apex predator, top of the food chain, and we all agree that how one consumes nutrition is part of the very, very tip of the spear of the synergy that creates the most badass productive human beings who have an overwhelming concern on being lean and fit and focusing on longevity and health, staving off disease, preventing disease, correcting metabolic dysfunction, reversing the effects of what the processed hyper bullshit standard American diet has done to our culture, to fight against what the weaponized three-letter government agencies, along with big pharma, big food, and the major corporations and the government have thrust in our faces and tried to tell us is detrimental to our health. And they have studies that are funded by these same individuals that want to destroy you and keep you submissive and weak, because a weak culture cannot stand up against its oppressors. There's attacks from all sides, and it doesn't help that within the ancestral health primal carnivore space, you're getting all this massive infighting now. I have a Facebook group called Carnivore Bodybuilding, and right out of the gate, let me go ahead and say, for the 467th time, that just because the group is called Carnivore Bodybuilding doesn't mean it's just for competitive bodybuilders. And you know the image that pops into your head. Even though I did competitive bodybuilding for some time, that's not what the group is about. It's about anyone who is trying to build, forge, craft, and develop their best human form, reach their greatest genetic potential. That's what building your body is, hence bodybuilding. Of the 18,000 people in this group, as of the time of this recording, I would probably assume that 1% are actually competitive bodybuilders. It's intended for anybody who is trying to reach their apex, their peak form, to be clear. And in this group, my goal was to bring some sanity into the carnivore space because of what I see on a regular basis, being part of it as an influencer, if that's what they're still calling us. Because many out there are misleading you, or to be fair, they may be injecting their own preferred version of their carnivore diet, and maybe perhaps even unwittingly making you think that their version is what it truly is in a narrow groove, and you cannot deviate from that path, that is the only way. When in fact, there's so much more open to interpretation in this diet, and that's what makes it so beneficial, flexible, and sustainable if you understand what it actually is. As with the ketogenic diet, where that's my origins, if we're being honest, that's how I became somewhat relevant on the internet, is because I was combining elements of a ketogenic diet along with hard training to produce the best physique that I possibly could. And I evolved from there into a carnivore diet starting in 2019, and found that that truly is, in my opinion, the apex of human nutrition. So now, promoting the benefits of a carnivore diet, we have to first understand exactly what a carnivore diet is, because in order for it to really truly reach the masses and be a sustainable way of life for everyone, we have to remove the dogma that has already become so prevalent and dominant in the space. Let me explain. I'm not exaggerating, and if you're a member of the group, you probably would agree with this, that a day doesn't go by that somebody doesn't post in the Carnivore Bodybuilding Facebook group and start finger wagging at people and correcting them, saying that they see a lot of posts in here, and due to the substance of those posts, that this isn't a carnivore group. Like, they think we've all lost our minds because we invite open dialogue and discourse to discuss all of the nuances of what a true carnivore diet is. And then we often politely try to correct, educate, and inform, give real relevant information as to where they're slightly misled or have been misled, and try to bring everybody into our sandbox so we can all share our toys and play and have a good time and associate with one another together in this little society and continue to share our experiences and help educate and share knowledge. So many are perplexed when they find that I, or many within my group, don't subscribe to a carnivore diet that is extremely rigid and strict, down to it being a diet of only consuming red meat and perhaps some salt if you like, and only drinking water. It's shocking how many people think that's what a carnivore diet is. Full stop, period. End of discussion. People are still saying, a carnivore diet is just eating, for many it's eating ribeyes with some salt and drinking water at every meal, every day, for the rest of your life. Now, I get it. That sounds sexy. That sounds really cool and cutting edge and hardcore. And I completely understand, if you're a man or a woman and you're at your wit's end and you really have a desire to change your physique, to look better, to feel better, to be stronger, to eliminate some metabolic distress or dysfunction that you may have, to reverse the present path or course that you're on and free yourself from a body that has you tied down and one that is free to thrive. I get it. And yes, this is the best nutritional protocol, in my humble opinion, that you can embark on, provided you understand how it works, because an unsustainable diet will never work, no matter how cool, badass, sexy it sounds. So yes, again, if you're looking for that solution and you feel like you're somewhat desperate, and somebody says to you, hey, listen, I got you. I got the solution for you. Here's all you got to do. If you want to get lean, if you want to be jacked, if you want to be ripped, if you want this effortless path to achieving your finest final form as a human being and look like a fucking comic book character. The carnivore diet will do that for you. And all you have to do is just eat steak and salt and water. And you do that and nothing else. And the end result will be as I just described. And initially, like all of us do, like we're lured into all of these fad diets as we have been for decades, lured into these ridiculous drugs like Ozempic. We're like, yeah, that sounds cool. That's easy. I can do that. I can just eat steak, salt, and water. And that, you mean that's all I have to do? Yeah. That's all you got to do. Now let's be fair and take it a slight step further. Some don't say just steak, salt, and water, although many do. And say that's what you have to be a true carnivore. Some will pull back a little bit and, lighten the reins and say, well, it can't have any carbs whatsoever. 0 vegetables, 0 carbs, 0 fruit, 0. You can never have one dietary transgression for the remainder of your entire life. You can only eat meat, eggs, fish. That's it. Forever. But if you do this, if you join the cult, the sky will part and the angels will sing and the light will shine down on you, and you, my friend, will become changed. Your woes of body fat reduction and the gaining of supreme health and strength and vitality, it will all come together under this. And to an extent, that's not untrue. Yeah, I think if you eat nothing but just quality, preferably grass-fed meats and wild-caught fish and pastured eggs, I think that's a phenomenal way to consume nutrition. But that doesn't always work optimally for everyone, and maybe more importantly, it's probably not fully sustainable for most. Because, let me remind you, what is the actual literal definition of a carnivore diet? That would be this. A carnivore diet is any diet where you consume 70% or more of your food from animal-based sources. And as I like to say, that other 30% is open to interpretation based on your unique genetics, your goals, your output, your training, your hormones, what you have done up to this point for maybe decades or years. Maybe there's a lot of damage there that needs to be reversed. So it's very nuanced. Now, when I say that, some people with this narrow-minded view take that as a concrete thing where I'm telling you that you can only, you have to consume 30% from non-animal-based sources. And that's not true. That just means it leaves it open to interpretation, because throughout the course of human history, you'd be hard-pressed to find a tribe, a culture, or a society that subsisted only on cooked muscle meat. And that's it. That's all they had. You're not going to find it. That really hasn't happened until just now in our human history. Some people have taken the carnivore diet and taken it to a very narrow extreme, which is fine. And they have chosen that they're just going to eat meat and eggs, or maybe even just meat and only water for the remainder of their days. If you have chosen to do that, and that is easily sustainable for you, and you can thrive and live a very wonderful life that way, then I applaud that and don't change a thing. Let me be clear. Whatever is working for you, continue to do it. But remember, it does have to be sustainable. So back to that person that is desperate to find the solution, and some influencer on YouTube or Instagram or X tells them the carnivore diet is the way, but you can only eat meat, or you can only have meat and eggs, and that's it. Never another carb forever. Never a vegetable forever. Never a piece of fruit forever. You can never have a piece of birthday cake ever again. None of it. Is that realistic and sustainable? Here's an idea. Here's a scenario. Follow along. Bear with me. I'm not going to be ranting too much longer. Try to keep this as short as possible. Let's just say hypothetically, you find 100 people who have expressed that they have some sort of severe need or desire to make a drastic change in their body composition or their health or their fitness or whatever. And they've tried everything and nothing has worked, and now they need the solution. And let's say we then told these 100 individuals that we cherry-picked and make them this control group, and we're going to say, okay, all you got to do to change everything for the better, everything for the good, to reach a level of genetic perfection unlike anything you've ever experienced, to reach the pinnacle, to reach the peak, to reach the apex, you can only have meat, salt, and water for the rest of your life. Now, you know, because people get excited out of the gate, everybody's fired up and motivated on day one. Let's say these 100 people say, yeah, that's easy, or I'm willing to do that. If you're telling me I can reach my peak form, yes, you can. In fact, let me prove it to you by conducting an experiment. We're going to conduct a 1-year experiment. We're going to take these 100 individuals and we're going to put them on an island away from society. We're going to provide you with shelter. We're going to provide you with hot and cold running water, a very nice environment, and we're also going to provide you with unlimited ribeye steaks, Celtic salt, and fresh filtered drinking water. But mind you, that's all you get for 1 year. But just think of how you will look and feel at the end of that time. It's going to be staggering. Your life will be changed. Fear not, young sportsman, all will be changed. So, of course, as most are, hyper-motivated out of the gate and somewhat delusional and not fully thinking into the future and its potential consequences. Let's say they agree to this little experiment. They arrive at the island, and on day one, we begin, and everybody gets grilled this beautiful big ribeye steak. They have this nice, fresh, clean drinking water, and they're able to sprinkle a little salt on it. They're having this yummy steak cooked the way they like it, fellowshipping with one another by a fire, living that badass life. How cool would that be? Man, this is so ancestral. This is so primal. I feel like a badass. And you would. That sounds awesome. Then let's say a week goes by. There's going to be some, I guarantee it, many, I would suspect, that after a week, and I'm about to serve them their 15th ribeye for the week, and another glass of plain water with a sprinkle of salt, and that's all you get. Some are going to start to be a little, this is getting a little old. As good as these steaks are, and as much as I love ribeyes, wow. What I wouldn't give for chicken leg right now. Or some damn scrambled eggs. Let's fast forward. Come on, let's be honest. 6 months in, I'm about to serve you your 467th ribeye, another glass of plain water, and your sprinkle of salt, your allotment of salt. How many of that 100 people are pretty much done with ribeyes. And let's just say, at the conclusion of that particular meal, 6 months in, I said, hey, listen, if any of you want to tap out, exit the experiment, and we'll fly you back to the mainland where you can all resume your lives and then choose to create your own carnivore diet based on the food that you like, and provided you just take in 70% or more of your food from animal-based sources, the likelihood of you achieving massive success is still outrageously good. I got to think, I would guess, you can tell me I'm wrong, I don't give a shit, because I'm not. I would guess that 99 of those 100 would be like, get me out of here. I get it, I've lost weight, I'm feeling good, but my God, I'm not sure I can sustain this much longer. I need a little bit more variety. And I'm sure our ancestors would have been the same way. There was variety in their diets. It wasn't all just red meat and water. On a daily basis, and I've done the math, I consume on some days, 3 to 6% of my total caloric intake for the day from foods other than meat and eggs. And that usually is a little bit of carbohydrate that I tolerate well around my training, or it could be a handful of fresh berries that I pick off my organic raspberry or blackberry bushes on my property when they are ripe and in season, or it could be that occasional tablespoon of fresh, raw, local honey that I acquired, or it could be that rare occasion where me and my wife on a Saturday night are about to enjoy a big, delicious steak, and on a rare occasion, either her or I may say, you know what sounds really good? A big-ass baked potato. Guess what? We'll have the potato. It's not often. It's rare. But we do it. And guess what? Just, you know what, 2 weekends ago, that exact thing happened. It was a Saturday night, date night. I grilled us some beautiful, beautiful steaks. And we decided we were going to let our hair down and have a little fun. And we cooked a nice big baked potato. Turns out potatoes do not affect me poorly. I don't get upset. I don't get sick. I don't feel bad. There's no negative effects on me. I can eat one and feel just fine. Guess what? Prior to eating that baked potato, I weighed 190 pounds. You know how much I weighed the next morning after I ate the baked potato? 190 pounds. There will be moments and times where you will have birthdays and holidays and special occasions and social functions. And if on those rare occasions you have a little dietary transgression, but the other 90% of your time is allocated to eating a very strict hypercarnivore diet, which by definition is a diet consisting of 70% or more from animal-based sources, that is far more sustainable, logical, and rational approach to this. I live a 90-10 lifestyle, meaning roughly 90% of my time I'm eating animal-based, clean foods, no shit, no garbage, and occasionally I will have that dietary transgression, that little cheat, that little whatever. And because the overwhelming amount of my annual time is spent training hard, eating clean, doing all the things necessary to be the best version of myself that I can possibly be, It's very sustainable, and I can live a happy life. And I didn't make this up. That is the actual definition of a carnivore diet. Now, the zero carb carnivore, where you just only eat meat, which is fine, or you only eat meat and eggs, fine. I have no problem with that. That's carnivore. It is a subset of the carnivore diet. It's just a stricter version. You would call that zero carb carnivore, which I think is fine. Or some call it the lion diet, popularized by Michaela Peterson. Fine. I think it's great. If that's what works for you and it's sustainable, I applaud you for that. However, let me be very clear. If someone is not on a super rigid version of what a properly defined carnivore diet is, stay in your own lane and chill the freak out, okay? You're all part of the same club. Let's all collectively use our powers for good and not evil. And instead of fighting amongst ourselves, let's kind of spread the gospel of a carnivore diet to all and let them sort out the nitty-gritty details of how they want to sort it out. Because once again, you have to remember that not all of us are metabolically broken. Now, I get it if you have been abusing your body for decades, and because of that abuse, you just can't tolerate carbohydrate, at least right now. So I get it. Do whatever you got to do to regain your health, or do whatever makes you feel great, perform great, and just be at your peak, to where the way that you are consuming food, you can honestly say to yourself when nobody's watching, this is extremely sustainable. I couldn't feel any better. This is fully optimized for me, and this is the path that I will travel for the remainder of my days, or at least until things change to where maybe I can make an alteration in the plan that will suit me better at that time. We don't all dress alike. So yeah, I'm not saying eat garbage. There's a couple things we can fully unite under. Never eat seed oils. Don't eat processed foods. Avoid hyperpalatable foods where you have excessive amounts of carbs and fat fighting amongst each other. Avoid lots of sugar, excess sugar. But if somebody says that, hey, I have a rice cake and a little honey or prior to a brutally hard workout, and for me, that works well, leave them alone, because we're all still on the same damn team. We all play different positions on this team. One person's the quarterback, one person's the running back, one's the linebacker, one's the defensive end, one's the safety, and one's the kicker. We're all doing different things. We all have different roles, different abilities. But we're all on the same team, and we all support each other. Ride or die. So come on in the group. Be part of our little Keebler tree. Be part of our little island of misfit toys. Free yourself from the rigidity of what others out there say a carnivore diet is. You don't have to train like this person. You don't have to eat just like this person. There are a lot of different ways to skin a cat. But one of those ways is not veganism. Those people can just get the hell out. So, does that make sense? I just wanted to clear that up for the 847,000th time. I want you to succeed. I want you to be the best version of yourself that you can be. I want you to fight against the matrix that's trying to tear you down and strip you apart from every angle, and thrive and be the best human you can. So until then, follow me on x.com/Coach Rob Goodwin. I'm trying to build an army over there in a place where I can truly speak my mind. May not be for everyone, but it might be for you. Please subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. Lots of cool things are coming. More video content weekly. That's my hope. That's my goal. But until the next time, guys, train hard, diet harder, but above all else, do whatever you got to do to be the best version of yourself that you can be and be happy and escape the matrix and thrive.